started. Let's invite up Cari, Bartholomew, and she is going to do the reenactment of Elizabeth Freeman. She is a great actor. She's been doing this for some time now, and she did for us last year at our Black History Month. She did Harriet Tubman, and it was phenomenal. So. Oh, you gotta help her. Okay now. All right, here we go.
All right. Can y'all hear me if I talk? No. All right. Well, my name is Elizabeth Freeman, and your name, that's something that's real important to you. When it tells you where you come from and where you've been. Now, when I was little, my name was not Elizabeth. My name was Bennett. And I did not like it very much because it sounded like bed. Doesn't it? Bed. Well, when me and my sister was about 6 and 3 years old, we was put on a boat, and we was sent on a ship, and we was sent to live with a family called the Ashleys. Now, as soon as we got off the boat, we was given a bucket. You have yourself a bucket. We was given ourselves a bucket and a brush, and we was made to clean their house all the time, every day. Would that be a lot of work? It would be a lot of work. Well, that's how we started. Now, a few years go by, and I'm not just cleaning, but now I have to learn to cook. And my little sister, she runs through the house, run through the house. But she doesn't go that, like a little house. So she runs by, and I'm rolling out the dough, and she reaches out, and she grabs herself a piece of cookie dough. She grabs herself a piece. And she eats that cookie dough. Oh, and it's so amazing. You reach out and grab another piece. Now, I shushed her away because I did not want Miss Ashley to know what she was doing, because Miss Ashley, she was a monster. Mr. Ashley, he was decent, but he was still a master. So if he was a master, what were we? We were slaves. So my little sister, I did not want her to get in trouble, so I shushed her away before Miss Ashley would see what she was doing. Stay right there. Now, Miss Ashley, she did know. So she walked on up to the fireplace, and she don't say nothing. She just walks on over to the fireplace. She gets it nice and hot. And she walks on over, still not saying nothing, and she walks right over to my sister. And she is about to hit my sister with that fire poker. Now, would you let somebody hit your sister? No, and I would not either. So I stood up in my little 9-year-old self, and I stood as tall as I could. You may go when I said, "You will not hit Izzy." So she did not hit Izzy. Instead, she took that fire poker and she ran it all the way down my arm. And my arm was this big, sore mess. Thank you so much for helping me all to go in here. So my little sister, she goes away. My arm is split open. And I have this scar that will last me for the rest of my life. But it's not that scar that lasts the rest of my life. It's the scar in my heart. Because that is the first day I know what it is to be a slave. Before then, there's lots of children running around who are just like me, who live the same way that I do. But this is the first time that I can't go to someone and say, "Hey, that lady, she hurt me." And there ain't nothing no one will do about it. So I have to live with that. And I hated being a slave. So the years go by, and now I'm about 30 years old, and I'm still living in that house. And the Ashleys, they've gotten more and more important, more prominent throughout the town. And they've invited all of these very important men, and they are laying out this thing on a table, and it says, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that all men have certain rights given to them by God Almighty, and among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of private property." Now here's a trick question. What was I reading? What was I listening to? Anybody know? You think that's my trick question? I was actually listening to a precursor. It was called the Sheffield Resolve. And here's the thing. Slaves were not allowed to read or write, but I couldn't help but hear what I heard. And what I heard was all men are created equal. All men. And if they said all, then that means me too, right? But I'm sitting there and I'm cleaning and I'm doing my best not to let anybody know that I can hear everything that they're saying. And as I'm cleaning, they finally start to leave and I give them their coats. All of a sudden, right in front of me is a good man. And this man, his name is Mr. Sedgwick. And Mr. Sedgwick, he's a solicitor. Do you know what a solicitor is? It is not someone who knocks on your door and says, would you like to sign a petition? No, a solicitor is a lawyer. And this man was not just a lawyer, he was an abolitionist, which meant he did not believe in slavery. And he wanted it ended. So I started to think as I gave him his coat and closed the door, and it took me a while thinking, because what I was thinking about doing was not very safe. But one day in the spring, I decided that I'm going to take myself a walk. So I start to go for a walk, and as I'm walking from town, people say, well, good morrow, Mumbet. Hello, Mumbet. Good day, Mumbet. And they're calling me something different. They're not just calling me Bet. They're calling me Mumbet. Why? Any guesses? Mumbet. It sounds like mom, right? Now, they did not call me Mom Bet because I had a bunch of children. No, they called me Mom Bet because I had a skill. See, a lot of people don't want you to know, but sometimes slaves got skills. And the skill that I had was I helped deliver babies. And I did not care if those babies looked like me, or looked like you, or looked like you. I only cared that they were a precious life. And I think that because I saw them as being this precious life, these people had a little bit of respect for me, as much as you could for a slave. So I keep on walking, and it is about 7 miles into town. 7 miles. And I finally get to Mr. Sedgwick's house, and I knock on his door. Now, if you've walked 7 miles, would you be a little sassy? I was a little sassy, so I knock on his door, knock, knock, knock. He opens his door, and I said, Mr. Sedgwick. And he said, well, hello, Mumbet. And I said, Mr. Sedgwick, I heard what you said the other day about the life and the liberty and the pursuit of private property. And he goes, uh-huh. And I said, I want you to help me get mine. And what do you think this good, kind man who does not believe in slavery said? What do you think he said? Mind you, this is 70 years before your friend Harriet. My friend too, I actually know her. But 70 years before she ever runs. So he looks at me and he says, no. And I don't understand, because wait a second, I heard you say that all men are created equal and all men have rights and all men are given those rights by God. And he goes, no, Mumbet. All those things is true, but you're not a man, you're a woman. So he said, now maybe if you had some man with you, maybe we could do something. So he closes the door, and I'm very discouraged, and I'm walking my 7 miles home. And as I walk my 7 miles home, out in front of me is the most handsome man you've ever seen in your life. And his name is Mr. Braun, but I call him Mr. Braun. So I go up to Mr. Braun, this big, strong, handsome man. He is the overseer. He is the protector of the plantation. And I said, Mr. Braun, we're going to go get our freedom. And what do you think this big, strong man says? What do you think he says? You better run. He says no. Now why would this big, strong man, the protector of the plantation, say no? Well, if you think about it, if Miss Ashley would hurt a little girl like she did to me, what would she do to 2 grown adults who brought shame on her family? But I was desperate, and I looked at Mr. Brom and I said, Mr. Brom, I don't think you understand. This is our one chance. This is our one chance at loving who we want to, at having a family, at owning a home, at giving our family a name. This is our one chance. And maybe because I'm a little dramatic, Mr. Brom decides, all right, we'll go to court. So we walk into the court building, and that room is filled, just like this room right here, but it is filled with people. And none of them look like me. None of them look like Mr. Brom. And right in front of us, there's the Ashleys, and they're giving us the stink eye. And we are afraid, and they say, Mom, Bet, do you want to say anything? And I said, no. And we are scared. But as I'm looking around that room, I start to realize, wait a second. Wait a second. I helped that family bring their baby into the world last year. That family. And when their kids were sick, they brought them to me. And I think that because I saw their lives as having some bit of meaning, they saw my life as having some bit of meaning. Because when that gavel came down, I had my freedom. I had my freedom. And they take me into this room and they say, well, Mom Bet, you need to choose yourself a name. And I don't have to think twice. I love the name Elizabeth. So I said, my name is Elizabeth. And then they said, well, you need a surname. And I had no idea what that was. So the judge looked at me and he said, you think about it. It can be anything. What's the most important thing in the world to you? You can have that. And I thought about it. And I thought, just a moment ago in that other room, I was a slave. There was nothing that I could do about it. And then these men who did not look like me, these men who were not highly educated, they were not doctors and lawyers and ministers, they were just poor, white, rural farmers. Those men decided that my life meant something. And I thought that if I could only have that moment, for just one moment, and at the end of that moment I just had to fall down dead, then I would do it. I would. Because there ain't nothing in this world more important than being able to stand under God's green earth, a free person. Being able to love who you want. Being able to get married and own a home and work for yourself and build something. And being able to keep your family together. There ain't nothing more important than that. And so I looked down at that paper and I looked at that judge and I looked down that paper one more time and I stood up as tall as I could and I said, my name is Elizabeth. Elizabeth Freeman. And that is how I got my name. Thank you.